RBC and WBC count using hemocytometer. It is used to determine the concentration of cells in a cell suspension. Principle. The gridded areas of the hemocytometer consists of several 1 into 1 millimeter squares. These are subdivided into 3 divisions: 0.0625 millimeter square, 0.05 millimeter square and 0.04 millimeter square. The central square is further subdivided into 0.0025 millimeter square. The raised edges of the hemocytometer hold the cover slip 0.1 millimeter of the marked grid. Materials required. The materials required are hemocytometer, RBC and WBC pipette, RBC and WBC dilution fluid, pricker, 70% ethanol and a microscope. Methodology. The materials needed for the experimental procedure are placed on the working table. Hemocytometer is taken and wiped using 70% ethanol. For collection of blood, first the finger from which the blood is to be collected is sterilized using 70% ethanol and pricked using pricking needle. Then the blood is pipetted using RBC or WBC pipette based on our interest. The blood should be drawn only up to the 0.5 mark. The pipetted blood is diluted with corresponding dilution fluid. The blood should be diluted up to the titer value. And then a drop of the diluted blood sample is placed on the counting chamber of hemocytometer and a cover slip is placed over it. The hemocytometer is placed under a microscope and the cells are focused using various magnifications. Visualization of white blood cells. The cells are spherical shaped. Role of the WBC dilution fluid is to destroy the other cells present in the blood sample. Red blood cells. RBCs are flexible and oval biconcave discs which are anucleate. Role of RBC dilution fluid is to destroy the other cells present in the blood sample. Calculation. For RBC counting, the central square of the counting chamber is concentrated. The cells present in the small squares of the central square are counted. For WBC counting, corner 4 squares are taken. The cells in big squares are counted randomly. When the cells are located along the borders of the squares, only top and left sides of the squares are considered. Right and bottom sides of the squares are rejected. Formula for RBC counting. Number of cells is equal to dx divided by nk. D dilution factor, x total number of cells, n number of squares, k volume of small squares in central square. Formula for WBC counting. Number of cells is equal to 10 by 4 into 20 into number of cells counted from 4 large squares, where 10 by 4 is the volume for which cells have been counted and 20 the dilution factor. Normally, RBC count in males is 4.2 to 5.8 million per millimeter cube, while females is 3.6 to 5.2 million per millimeter cube. WBC count is 1200 to 9600 cells per millimeter cube.